a longtime resident of Los Angeles, had been investing in apartments privately. The core business was in medicine, not in real estate, and they had the father and the mother had been investing, buying apartment buildings for a couple of decades in lieu of putting money in the stock market for a variety of reasons. And by the time that Brent and I ended up here in Los Angeles together in the late 80s, and both of us were aspiring real estate investors, we persuaded them to let us take over the management of these assets because it was clear that they were not performing as well as they could. They were run down. We showed the parents that current rents were well below market, and we gave them a business plan of upgrading properties and really creating more of a durable cash flow stream. And it worked. I mean, we spent 5 years, one by one, renovating each one of those properties, upgrading the tenant bases, really modernizing the properties, dealing with all the deferred maintenance. And it has been an ATM machine for the family ever since. And it's, again, it was astonishing that they would let, we didn't have control. I mean, we reported to them on a weekly basis, but still handing over the reins on day-to-day execution to two 20-somethings who really knew very little about real estate at the time was a leap of faith, if you will. But it was a great education. I mean, this was before websites existed. And so we had these things called beepers. Half the audience looking at this wouldn't even know what a beeper is, but I had one when my wife was pregnant 30 years ago with our first child. But the beeper is what all of our residents had. So if you were a tenant in one of our buildings and you had a leaky toilet at 2 a.m., you would call the number on the beeper. And Brent and I would swap beeper duty on a weekly basis. I had it one week, he had it the next week, and go back and forth. And I got plenty of beeper calls at 2 a.m. and I'd either have to arrange for one of our maintenance people to go over and address the situation. If I couldn't get a hold of them, I went over. So it was a great education in just the day-to-day operations of resident. There's probably nothing more management intensive than residential real estate, and we got a lot of dirt under our fingers. We learned everything that can go right and go wrong when it comes to structuring leases and relationships with tenants and so forth. It was just an incredibly valuable education. We formed Paladin in partnership with the family office of William Simon, who was Treasury Secretary back in the 70s. He was a leveraged buyout pioneer in the 80s. So we managed the family's existing holdings with an agreement that we would redeploy it in a more a real estate strategy with more of a vision behind it. And the first deals that we did were buying existing older apartment buildings across the U.S. and renovating them and increasing, value-added apartment investments, which is exactly what I was doing with the other family office that I had opened up, formed a property management business around in 1989.